Hey, welcome back to Simple Truth. Hey, we're closing in on Christmas, right? We're closing in on Christmas, getting a few weeks out, and Christmas is all about a gift, right? It's all about the gift that God gave us in Jesus. And when we look at the story of Joseph, there are so many similarities between Joseph and Jesus, right? Again, a lot of times people call Joseph the Jesus of the Old Testament. And I don't need to argue the theology of that and all that kind of stuff. But we see similarities. And we were talking about last time in chapter 42, as we're pushing along this whole thing with Joseph and his brothers, that Joseph's brothers came out and admitted right in front of him what they had done to him, and that they were paying a price for what they had done to him, right? And then we pick up the story in verse, I want to go back to verse 23. They did not know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. Then he turned away from them and he wept. And he returned into them and spoke to them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. And Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain and to replace every man's money in his sack and give them provision for the journey. This was done for them. I'm going to get super stuck here because about 18 things that I want to talk to you about, right? They didn't know because there was an interpreter. I could get stuck there. So let me tell you that sometimes people have problems, right? Sometimes people have addictions. Let's say like to like Doritos, right? To like the new tangy pickle Dorito, right? And they just really, really, really want a Dorito. They want to eat the whole bag, right? And sometimes they're really fighting this battle. Sometimes they're fighting it really, really, really well. And then we walk into the room with a bag of tangy pickle Doritos, and we offer them. We don't understand what's going on. We don't know the battle that they're fighting. We don't know what they understand. We don't know where they've been. We don't know what they've gone through, right? Listen, it's important. We celebrate. We celebrate weight loss. We celebrate people who lose tens, hundreds of pounds, right? And we're just, yeah. But after they lose that weight and they're walking around, are we still cognizant of the battle they've been through? Are we still cognizant of what they've had to do and that they still need to be careful, and that if they're not careful, it'd be really easy to go back? Let me use a personal example. I love my cherry Pepsi. Everybody knows that, right? Matter of fact, when I don't have cherry Pepsi at my family dinner, I end up with about 4 or 5 people going, "What's wrong with you? Are you all right? Are you sick? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" Right? I had to have a procedure last week, and I couldn't have Pepsi. And I just haven't drank it for the last week, right? Again, I don't know whether I'm going to stop drinking pop or not. Probably not, right? But at least now I'm in control of it, right? I'm in control of it. I can say no. I can say yes, right? But what I do know is that if you walk up to me and you hand me a wild cherry Pepsi and you don't have any idea about where I've been, what I've been through, what I'm going through, and there's no interpreter there, you're gonna have a problem, right? You don't know what you've just done, right? I'm trying to be careful and you're enticing me to not be careful, right? Is that your fault? No, right? But sometimes we just don't understand where people are, right? We don't, because we haven't been doing life with them. And that's the same thing here. Joseph's brothers have no idea, zero clue, right? No idea about what they have just done for Joseph, right? Joseph has been waiting years, 10, 12, 13 years, right? In order to have some kind of restoration with his brothers, to know anything about his family. He doesn't know what's going on with his family. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, suddenly, at just the right time, after a little while, right? So after a little while, at just the right time, suddenly, God works, and there are his brothers standing in front of him. But they're trying to tell him that they're honest men, and he knows who they've been, right? They're trying to tell him that they're there for honest reasons, but he knows where they've been. And then they give him a gift. They give him a gift, and they really say in front of him, "Hey, we are changed men. We're taking responsibility for what we did." Do you know what happens when you stand with somebody who takes responsibility for what they've done to you. Hey, I know I've hurt you. Hey, I know those words hurt you. Hey, I know those actions hurt you. Hey, I know I walked out on you. Hey, I know I gave up on you. Hey, I know I haven't forgiven you. Hey, I know. And I'm sorry. I take responsibility for that, right? It does not fix what has happened. It isn't going to go back and change everything that's happened in that time. But what it does is bring about a flood of emotions. How do I know that? Because Joseph wept. Do you know where we also see that? Oh, right. Very similar in nature. Jesus wept. He looked at Mary and Martha, their love for their brother, their love for him, and he wept when he knew that Lazarus was dead. He wept and he knew the rest of the story. Jesus knew that he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead, and he wept. Why? Because he saw Mary and Martha. Joseph knows what's going to happen here. Joseph knows he has all the power. What happens here? He weeps. Why? Because his brothers gave him a great, tremendous, wonderful gift. They gave him the gift of truth. They gave him the gift of restoration, right? Again, he didn't have to reciprocate. He doesn't have to do what he does. What happens? What's his response to this? His response is, hey, give them the grain and put their money back in their bags. Can you imagine what his servants thought about this whole deal? What in the world is going on here? What in the world? Joseph has some guy bound right in front of his brothers. They all see what happens to him, right? But before that, he runs out of the room and weeps. What is going on? And then he comes back. He bounds a brother and he sends him off. And then he tells them, hey, give them the grain and give them their money back. What craziness, right? Can you imagine the emotions that Joseph's feeling right now? Right? Can you imagine what he really wanted to do? If it was me, I'd have wanted to say, I'm your brother. It's okay. It's all right. Take me back to dad, right? But no, Joseph stands strong. Do you know he doesn't tell anybody who he is? He doesn't even tell the brother that he keeps who he is, right? He wants the rest of his family to come down. He wants to know that these men really have changed, that they are honest men, right? He responds to their declaration of responsibility. So here's, again, my simple truth for today. People are in desperate need around you for you to free them with your declaration of responsibility. When we hurt somebody, right? When we mistreat somebody, I've watched it time and time. Do you know I've watched people go back into stores when they've treated somebody poorly and say, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I've watched people in restaurants when they've gotten upset with the waitress or the waiter. I've watched them say, hey, I just need you to know, man, that was wrong. I've watched people after meetings say, you know what I said there was wrong. I've watched people in the middle of church service say, hey, what I did there was wrong. People are walking around tired and imprisoned because we're keeping them there. Because rather than taking responsibility for what we've done, we just let it all play out. Healing comes when we just simply take responsibility and we let other people have the greatest gift ever, which is restoration. Do you know that's what God did at Christmas time for you and I? He looked down and said, these people need freedom. It's in Luke chapter 4. I come to proclaim the good news and to free, right? To free, to restore, to do all of these things. And God looked down and He took our responsibility and freed us. Do you know that's my responsibility, right? That I'm out of relationship with God. And God said, I'm going to take that. I'm going to put it on my son. And all you have to do is accept the free gift. That's what Joseph's brothers are going to find out. They just got to accept their whole thing here. They admitted truth. We did something wrong. We need restoration. We're paying a price. And everything else just falls into place. Now, let me make this super clear. It doesn't always end up roses. Some people decide that, you know what, they can't forgive. Some people decide that what you've done is just so grievous, so wrong, right? That they cannot forgive you. Some people are going to take it a step further and they're going to try to destroy you over that. But what God says is when you take responsibility, He will give you freedom from where you've been, give you a path towards the future, right? And those people, well, they're going to be judged as they judged and forgiven as they forgive, and they're going to be measured as they measure. You ought to turn at that moment, have great compassion like Joseph did on his brothers. Pray for them, right? We ought to be praying that they will get it because we don't want them in judgment. At this moment, Joseph's brothers have exited judgment from Joseph. His response is love. His response to them, right, is to give back, to take care of them. They just don't quite know that yet. Maybe that's where you are. Maybe that's where you are this Christmas time. There's some people that you need to do that for. There's some people that you're hoping will do that for you. I pray that God does that for you as you seek Him. So, listen, simple truth, hard in application today. We'll see you next time. Oh, wait, I hope that for Christmas maybe you get some tangy pickle Doritos. See you next time.